Okay. You're constantly worrying about how people are feeling. You're worried that someone's disappointed at you or upset in general. And maybe there's this big internal drive for you to want to fix it. It might be your partner, it might be your mother or father or siblings, or maybe people at work where you're just like, oh my God, that person's hurting. I want to help them. I want to take over. I want to take full responsibility for it. Just make sure that everything is okay. If this is you, I want to let you know you weren't born like this. This isn't a normal thing to be experiencing. You're actually taught this. This is a trauma response from your childhood. You are not responsible for other people's emotions. Hey, if you're new around here, my name is Jayden. I'm an emotional intelligence coach working with women, helping them turn their chaos to clarity. So if you haven't already, like this video, click the subscribe button. I'd love for you to comment here as well. Let's jump into it. So just a question for you. Do other people's emotional states determine your emotional state? If that's true, then let's have a chat. Okay, so I work with a lot of women who believe it's their identity that they're someone who is caring and nurturing and really involved in other people's lives. And it's this sense of self. It's like, that's just who I am. And when we start digging into it, what we realize quite quickly, for the most part, is that these women have actually gone through a lot of childhood trauma that they don't really recognize as childhood trauma. So before we get into the trauma side of things, let's look at like how does this present? Well, if you're someone who doesn't want to rock the boat, if you're someone who doesn't express her needs, doesn't want to, upset anyone, doesn't want to upset the apple cart, right? If you feel like when someone else is disappointed that you're the one who always needs to, repair it and fix it, maybe if you're someone who, if your kid's not doing well, then you've failed, okay? Or maybe your partner, you're like, oh, I don't want to bring it up, it's okay, I'll just let it slide, or, I don't want to upset him, right? If any of these relate to you, I want to let you know that this isn't a virtuous thing. This doesn't make you a good person. What it's demonstrating is that you're carrying a lot of emotional burden, and this is causing you a tremendous amount of pain that you don't have to carry, you don't have to hold, and you get to be free from that. Now, look, I fully appreciate that if what I just said there just put this like pang of fear inside of you, like, oh my God, but if I don't do that, if I don't repair, if I don't take responsibility, then what does that mean, right? Like, my relationship's going to fail. That's exactly the indication to prove that you're being led by some emotional trauma that is quite dysfunctional. I'm going to say that. And we need to address it so that you can start being free from this and actually start to live a really fulfilling and healthy, stable life. And I think that's a pretty fair thing. So let's start jumping into this and breaking it all down. So let's have a chat about your childhood. You either had mum or dad or both who were displaying their natural, normal behaviors in their life, right? Like, they haven't done a heap of personal development. They're like not monks or anything like that. They're a normal, fallible, dysfunctional human just like the rest of us. Like, that can be fine, but it also causes a lot of problems while we're developing as young children. Because if our parents aren't really conscious of their own emotional state, or they lack the ability to emotionally regulate, what happens is they pour that emotional dysregulation onto us as children. And as a child, we can't handle that large amount of emotion, especially from a big person. Like, it's too complex. We can't get it. Like, especially at young ages, before 7 years old, it's like 0 to 7 is a very key developmental age. There's others beyond that, but this is a really important one. So what happens is when we haven't fully developed our brain, we're not even close to it. We don't even know how to regulate our own emotions, really. And then we have an adult pouring out their emotions around us or at us, well, what happens is it causes us to retreat into survival states. This might be flight, fright, freeze, or fawn, okay? But essentially what it does is it teaches us that we're unsafe. We don't know what to do with this thing, especially if it's directed at us, right? It might be mum or dad yelling or nagging or screaming at us. And it might be over simple things like put our shoes away or brush our teeth, get our rooms clean, things like that. But this causes a lot of chaos inside of us, a lot of dysregulation. And as a child, what do we want? We want consistency, we want stability, we want predictability, we want safety, nurturing, calm, playfulness. We want to feel like we're allowed to freely explore our environment and to try and learn new things. Okay, we're looking for a secure and healthy attachment and healthy environment to explore and test ourselves, right? But when we're intermittently or constantly being hit with or bombarded with emotionally dysregulated adults, that can cause us to freak out, and we start taking on the responsibility of having to manage other people's emotions, because we start to find out that when they're like that, when mum's screaming at me or when dad's really cold and distant, I don't get my needs met. I don't get a loving connection. I don't get playfulness. I don't get included. I don't get asked about or feel like I matter because they're so dysregulated. So what I can learn to do, though, is adapt and take responsibility on and learn how to manage mum and dad, because then I might get what I want or what I need as a child. This isn't manipulative. This is pure survival. Okay, so what might this look like? Well, if you are a young girl who, think of all the young tropes as a young girl. You should be seen and not heard. Okay, you should be pretty and represent the family. You should be polite, right? You should be courteous and playful and respectful. You should have your hair a certain way, dress a certain way. There's certain behaviors of a young lady, etc. And this puts a lot of conditioning, a lot of pressure on women to be a certain way in order to be accepted. And if you're not that can cause a lot of the rejection that we feel, right? This is where mum gets naggy at us, right? Starts criticizing us, right? Or dad starts doing it, or dad's just so distant, right? We start to have this belief that if I'm not up to their standards, then I'm wrong. I'm not correct in who I am. My very sense of being is misplaced. So I need to start adapting who I am at my core, my natural, normal childhood expression. That's clearly not acceptable because mum and dad don't like me. So I need to adapt and twist and change myself into someone that is likable. So if mum's angry at me, well, then I need to start helping regulate her. I need to be the caretaker for her. I need to do whatever it is that she needs me to do so that she's happy. Why? Because I want to feel safe. I want to feel safe. I want to feel calm. I want her to hug me. I want her to play with me. I want her to spend time with me. And so what happens with so many people in our worlds and all the clients that I work with is that as a child, they realized that they lost who they were because they were trying to be something for their parents. And this ended up becoming, for so many people, a sense of responsibility for being the mediator. Okay? So this is where it's, I'll be good for mum. I'll do the right thing. I'll take care of mum. Oh, mum's disappointed. I need to apologize for something. I don't know what it is, but I'll just do it. Right? It might be for dad, or dad's not talking to me. I need to just try harder at school. Or I need to draw a cuter picture. I need to, if he doesn't like that I like unicorns and flowers, he likes cars. Well, I better draw a picture of a car because that's what he wants, right? And that's what he'll get excited about, but he doesn't like my Barbies, right? And so there's this continuous chipping away. at our core expression, our core interests, and we learn to adapt and twist and mold into what we think our parents need. And we move further and further away from ourselves. That's really important to understand. Now, this, as I said, comes up as a child where you're trying to manage your parents' emotions because they don't know how to manage their own. They don't know how to manage their own. And because of that, you've been burdened with that responsibility. And that is an absolute killer of our sense of self, our sense of like who we are, what our actual needs are, because we're so busy focusing on what our parents need so that we can give it to them so that then they can give us our basic necessities. But it comes at a big cost of, as I say, our sense of core self, our deep, primal, like honest core identity. We lose that to become whatever our parents need. And this is what carries through with us into our adult lives. Where, again, I said earlier in the video, where so many women believe that's just who they are, that they're a carer, they're a nurturer, they're deeply empathetic with people and they want to help. But really, I see time and time again is that when we boil it down, we see these patterns play out, is that what's actually going on is that there is this unconscious duty or responsibility that they have for other people's emotional states, not necessarily because they care about the other people, because they're afraid that if they don't minimize the situation, they don't diffuse, the situation, then what can happen is they're going to be faced with a level of rejection, dismissal, abandonment, and internally that just destroys them. So it's much easier to say, oh no, I care. Let me help you. Let me regulate your nervous system. Don't worry about what I need. Let me just take care of you. Or I'm not going to rock the boat. I'll do anything you need just for us to be okay. Is that okay? Right? It seems really virtuous. It seems really noble. It seems really beautiful. But it's you destroying yourself bit by bit, piece by piece, until you're left feeling, and this comes up, resentful. And sometimes it's resentful towards yourself, like, why can't I just do this thing? Why can't I express my needs? Or it's resentful towards the other people. Okay, why don't people see me? They don't see my needs. This builds up slowly over time. And then there's this huge confusion because women start to feel this resentment towards other people, but they've learned that any outward expression of disappointment is going to be met with like a heap of chaos back because that's what their childhood nervous system learned. And so then they're all confused and in this internal battle saying, well, I feel resentment and now I feel guilty for feeling resentment because that makes me a bad person and I need to be loving and caretake everyone and I can't be mean or disappointed at anyone. That's not safe. And this chaos just ensues inside their body. And they come to me saying, Jayden, I need help. What's going on? And this is where we start working together. So I'm going to give you now some ideas of how can we start breaking free from this to find a different way of being. Let's jump into it now. So to start healing through this, as an adult now, it's to understand that you're allowed to care about other people still. That's totally fine. But you don't have to take ownership or responsibility of other people's feelings. They're allowed to have their own stuff. What you've been taught, though, is that you need to rescue other people from their emotions, i.e. mum and dad. And so that's that responsibility. But what's happened is that when you continuously do this for people now as an adult, and this might be siblings, parents, co-workers, partner, you name it, is that when you keep doing that, you keep rescuing them, keep taking responsibility for them, what it does is it takes away their free agency to learn and heal and grow. Why would they need to learn self-regulation when you just take it off their plate? Right? So they're getting this thing from you and it works well for them because they don't have to take responsibility for themselves because you're taking responsibility for them. Okay? So it's important to understand that's what's happening. So right now, when you're rescuing someone by taking responsibility, you're actually causing them harm because you're taking away their opportunity to learn how to regulate themselves. Wow, that's a big deal. That's a huge deal, huge deal. It's also important to understand, and this is going to be a confronting question, so just brace yourself. When you do have that compulsion to reach out to someone that you care about because you want to heal or nurture or regulate the emotional distance between you, or you want to smooth everything out, whatever that feeling is, ask yourself this: am I actually showing this person love and genuine care? Or am I trying to control how they feel so that my nervous system feels okay? Let that hit. Let that hit. Okay. This is what we find happens way more often than not, is that if you have that compulsion to reach out, take responsibility, nurture other people, it's actually because you don't feel comfortable with the emotional dysregulation inside of you. So you go out of your way to help them so that you feel okay. You take responsibility for them. That's what it looks like. But it's actually so you're regulating your own nervous system. How do we solve it? Well, it's about starting to look at yourself and asking yourself this really important question, which is, what do I need right now? And how can I meet that need? What do I need to do for me? Not how do I engage with someone else to regulate my nervous system? How do I take responsibility for myself, not someone else? Because taking responsibility for someone else takes away their agency. Taking responsibility for me empowers me. That is the difference. That's a big, scary question to ask ourselves when we're so used to taking responsibility for everyone else. Now, I understand that all the fears are going to come back in. Well, if I don't repair with this person, then what are they going to think of me? And they're going to be angry at me, and I need to take responsibility for that. I understand. That's the fear. That's the trauma replaying out, holding you back and keeping you stuck in that rescuing pattern. That needs to stop. That needs to stop. And this is what we do inside of our Chaos to Clarity program. So if you're wanting to hear a little bit more about that as well, just drop in the comments and just let me know if you're interested to hear more about how we can work with you. So let me know what you think. I'll see you in the next one.